According to the 2015 Italian National Institute of Statistics report, almost 1 in 3 women in Italy have disclosed physical or sexual violence. There were 416 reports on sexual violence faced last year in the city of Milan, a figure that rises to nearly 100,000 inhabitants, 600 when considering the entire province in the last 2 years. 380 cases of stalking and more than 550 incidents of sexual abuse occurred in the 2022, 21% more than in 2021 and as much as 38% more than in 2020. Milan is first in Italy with the crime index, with 5,986 complaints. After Giulia Cecchettin case, the number of people reporting case increased. In the face of this fact, so evident and serious in the Italian territory, we decided to deepen the theme of violence against women and their housing condition during the protection phase. There are some laws in the Italian legal system to protect women. While these laws persecute men, they are intended to support women against all forms of violence. Some of them are on sexual violence, law on feminicide, law on the red card for minors, mistreatment on the family, and protection head. Other of them are important and we can mention are the State Region Agreement, the National Anti-Violence Plan, and the Regional Anti-Violence Plan. In Italy, there is a system that helps women to get out of violence dynamics. The woman can reach the help center through a first way, a free 24-hour emergency number 1522, which accommodates with professional figures the request of help and support the victim of violence and stalking. It detects where the woman is calling during the call, identifies her needs as a woman, and directs her to the nearest anti-violence center. After that, there are other 2 forms of help inside the system: anti-violence center and refugee houses. The anti-violence network is divided into 2 levels. The first is the national network under the Department of Equal Opportunities, which work through an emergency number 1522, and on the basis of territoriality distributes and refers cases of abused women. The second is the territorial network, that has a complex way of functioning based on the specific city. The anti-violence network of the city of Milan works to unite all the entities in the province. There is a connection between the anti-violence network, institution, and entities that offer shelters. Networking was born from the idea to be enabled to make places that can connect women workers with women who have found themselves in difficult situations, to recreate a 360-degree project. To make this film, we were able to interview a number of women workers who were closer to women victims. We met them at their place of work because shelters must remain a secret address for protection reasons. For added security, we cannot show the faces of the people interviewed or use names and voices. We have repurposed them so we can still them the complexity of this topic. All women access through initial contact, by phone, email, or by presenting themselves in person, and arrange a first appointment, starting the welcome path, percorso di accoglienza. If there is a need to place the woman in protection, levels of shelter are identified. Emergency response, first level of reception, second level of reception. Anti-Violence Center have a multidisciplinary team that has a specialization to the topic of male violence against women. They are training workers for psychological, legal, legislative, educational, and labor help in order to bring about independence. Any step that is taken with the institution is in agreement with the woman, and nothing is done without her consent.
We support all women who choose to be helped.
The safe houses are requested by all these women who are unable to have their independent solution because they are not financially stable or dependent on their husbands. Violence breeds limitation and isolation, and being prevented from being able to manage independently is one of the ways in which this is exercised.
We take for granted freedom of self management, movement, or ID possession. For an isolated woman, beginning a path to independence means saying, I exist.
Shelter homes are places where an attempt is made to create a family dimension, a home dimension. To avoid depersonalization, places are chosen where a few women and family units can be accommodated. There are certain requirements that shelter must meet: structural, managerial, and organizational. Shelter homes are offered in different modalities between women alone and women with children. In the first case, the woman can apply for shelter only if she is of age, and according to her needs, her shelter path is created. There is no specific period of stay. It can vary from 6 months to 2 years, completely depending on the case.
In our shelters, we try to create a situation as close to roommate life as possible. That is why there is not an operator present there 24 hours.
Each woman has her own project, and the way she lives in the house shows what stage of the journey she is at. You can tell by how she experienced the space, whether she experienced the sharing space, and whether the individual space is personalized or is experienced as a temporary situation.
We look for homogeneity related to age. We will never put a young girl in the house alone, just as we understand how a woman of an older age needs their autonomy. At the same time, we search for heterogeneity related to culture. We believe that the more richness, the better.
As for the woman's household with children, the situation is more complex because a new agency, social services, comes into play. An abused woman with children experiencing witnessing violence, if she ran away, would incur a risk of child abduction. It is necessary to report the violence and implement Article 403. For this reason, the path towards hospitality becomes bureaucratically longer. Having her children with her, when a woman has to move, she must always have the approval of the juvenile court. Ideally, the woman should not have to move away, but the abuser should be removed. In this way, the woman with the children can remain on the territory, with her connection. Complications occur when the children have to change school, in which case there is a takeover by the social services, who are in charge of moving the children. The law in this case is unclear, because the father consent is always required. The safe houses offered for the women with children are distinguished into villas with garden, dwelling in courtyards with interior gardens, apartments in condominiums, and other buildings. Unfortunately, it was not possible for us to film the spaces where the women stay for security reasons.
In the shelters that we offer, the spaces are divided into the rooms for the mother with her children and the shared spaces, such as the kitchen, the bathroom, and the living room, or the garden, depending on the case. Each woman experiences the spaces in a different way, and so they are spaces which, while remaining fixed, are always in constant movement and transformation.
As women continue the protection period, a new start in normal life is offered, even if it's a complex process and depends on the specific case. The woman tends to stay in the place where she started a new life, and offer the search of work is not difficult. Through the professional training course, they were able to find it quickly. The problem is that they are often precarious jobs. They don't allow them to become independent. The goal of Anti-Violence Center is to propose a dimension of normality, which allows the woman to feel normal like others. Once the period of hospitality is over, the woman is called to be independent on all fronts, including housing. Unfortunately, to date, being able to achieve housing independence is becoming a problem. It is practically impossible. Women coming out of situations of violence do not have special facilities. They are not considered a protected category. Violence is isolated, and often women do not have reference, and they are in fragile economic and psychological condition. The housing issue in Milan is dramatic for anyone, for single women even so more.
What we are trying to build is a connection with social housing. It is a very saturated ground. However, we have seen that with young women it is easier to enter those circuits, especially in the 25-35 age group.
All of this worked in Lombardy until 2023. With 2024, a new law, Intesa Stato-Regioni, things are changing, but it's not yet clear how, in concrete terms, the methodology used by anti-violence centers and shelters will change. The goal is to have a standard level that will make the work homogeneous in the Milan area. Conversely, this implies that the needs of women victims are not longer being specifically addressed.
The system must be diverse in order to be responsive to the needs of all women.
Despite this question mark about the future, the method of anti-violence center in the Lombardy area is based on a heterogeneous look at the problem and works very well. Agencies can differentiate themselves to be able to specify the different types of women with or without children and the different types of violence that they have suffered. This is why there is no standard hospitalization, but all are unique and specific of each case.
It is really a project that is built with the woman, based on the needs that arise.
Diversification of shelters and thus the space responds to the different facets of women's stories. When a person in a phase of reconstruction after a moment of destruction is offered the opportunity to have beauty around her, this helps to rebuild her awareness of value as a person.
The beauty you see outside can also affect the inside.
The Violence Center is a place that restores values, restores power, and redistributes responsibility over action. Shelters seek to create a space, care and beautiful, to convey safety, love, and healing the woman. There is a search for beauty, for value that the woman relearns about, her own and the world's.